Hello, our most valued student. My name is Confident. Welcome to our revision of the Mathematics N1 question paper. And this question paper was written in July 2020. And I thought of sharing it with you, some strategies that you could have used to answer the question. In this particular question 3, this is question 3.1. It is dealing with a factorizing. It says fully factorize the following expression, and this particular question, if you can see, it is out of 3 marks. This is 3.1.1, which means there is also a 3.1.2. But now if you study this question carefully, it wasn't actually a complicated question. It was simple, a routine problem where you were supposed to use your foundation. Your foundation is basic maths, and you are supposed to use your foundation on factorizing to say, can you identify what is common in 2x squared minus 50x? So the first thing that you usually need to do when you want to identify what is common, you have to start with the numbers. You have to ask yourself, what is common between 2 and 50? So in other ways, you are looking for the highest common factor or the highest number that can go into 2 and 50, and you can see that automatically 2 is the one that can go into both numbers. And then again, when you are given x squared and x, this is power 1, you just have to choose the number with the smallest power. In this case, it is x. So when you've done that, you put a bracket. So what you are actually doing, you are actually taking 2x squared and you are taking minus, we can leave out actually this negative sign, and let me just write 50x. You are taking these two numbers and you are dividing these two numbers by what you took out as a common factor, which is 2x, and again here I'm dividing by 2x. That is basically what you're doing. When you divide there, the x will cancel. Remember, x squared is x times x, so it will cancel one of them to remain with 1, and the 2 will cancel into 50, it is 25, and that x will cancel that particular x. So what you have on the first one, it is x that is remaining. What you have on the other side, it is 25. So when you have done that, that is what you're going to write, which is x, and you have a negative sign, which is minus 25 in this case. So this is the answer, and I think for it to be worth 3 marks, it was actually a giveaway, because if you look how they are going to mark this particular question, they will, for them to give you 3 marks, they will mark you the 2, they will mark you the x, and they will mark you the bracket. So it's actually even worth 1 mark, but I think it was a bargain, a bonus for you to be given 3 marks. You can actually cross-check your answer if you're correct by taking your 2x, put a bracket, and x minus 25, and then what you do is you expand, meaning you open this bracket, the 2x multiplies the x, and the 2x multiplies the 25. It must lead you to the beginning of your question. In this case, you are supposed to get back your 2x squared minus 50. So if we do that, you say 2x times x, you will get your 2x times x, it is x squared, minus 2x times 25, the 2 times 25 will give you the 50, and then the x. You can see that it is taking you back to the original, which means you are correct. Now let us look at question 3.1.2, and then in question 3.1.2, it was out of 4 marks. Again, something worth getting all the marks in this case. Now, we are also still looking at factorizing. We are supposed to factorize that expression. So if I give myself enough, just enough size for that. Now look at this question. It says you are supposed to factorize 2x squared plus 6x minus 3, minus x minus 3. Now this, when there are 4 terms, as you can see, this is 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So you have got 4 terms, and most of the time when you're given 4 terms like this, we call this problem factorizing by grouping. So what do I mean by that? You have to consider your first 2 and consider your last 2, and then try to group them and say that you can come with something common. So let us consider our first 2. In our first 2, what we have got 2x squared plus 6. So look at these two numbers, 2 and 6. You look at the number that can go into both 2 and 6. You're like, okay, 2 can go into 2 and 6. And then x squared and x, like previously, we are going to take out the number with the smallest power there, which is x. And similarly, I did mention in the previous example that it's like you have got your 2x squared and we have got your 6x, and you are dividing by 2x. Each one you are dividing by the common factor, which is 2x. So the 2 cancels, the x cancels 1 there, the 2 cancels the 6 to give you a 3, and then the x cancels, and here we will have an x. So what you'll have is your x plus 3. Now when you have done that, you go to the second part of the grouping, which is 3 and 4. Now the thing about 3 and 4 is that it must match. After you've factorized well, you must come with a similar bracket, which is x plus 3. If it doesn't give you a similar bracket, it means your factorizing was not done properly. So what you do is you look at what is common between minus x plus 3, and you can already tell that minus x plus 3 and what is in the first bracket, which is x plus 3, already it's just the negative signs that are different, but you can come up with an x plus 3 here. So what you take out when it's like this, a negative and a negative, just take out that negative and you put a 1, because 1 does not change anything. Now when you have taken out a negative, so the x which was negative will become positive, and the 3 which was negative will also become positive. So what you are doing similarly is like you've got minus x and you've got minus 3. Remember, outside we say it is a negative 1 and it's a negative 1. So the negative 1 changes that to a positive, the negative and the negative changes that to a positive. Hence you have got x plus 3. And if you see, you have got 2 brackets that are the same. So what you do, you write that bracket, which is your, what is inside the brackets, which is your x plus 3. And then you identify what is outside the bracket. You have got that part and you have got that part together, which is outside the bracket. It is what you are going to use for the next new bracket that you will open, which is your 2x minus a 1. So this is what they mean when they say factorize that. When there are 4 terms, you're going to come up with 2 brackets. Now you can prove, let's say proof. It is always advisable on your rough paper or where you can where you're doing your working. Usually you do your working at the back of your answer script, and then after you're finished you can scratch all that work and write rough work, or you can work it on the question paper that you're given. Remember, you're not allowed to bring your extra papers. So now if you are to prove this, what you have is, remember, you've got x plus 3 to x minus 1. Now we want to prove that it takes us back to the original, and our original, remember, it is our 2x squared plus 6x minus x minus 3. So how do you go about that? You expand, and the expansion you multiply x times that, and you multiply x times that. You also multiply 3 times that. You also multiply 3 times that. And then if you do it correctly, you will have now x times 2x is 2x squared, and then x times minus 1 is minus x, and 3 times 2x is a positive 6x, and 3 times minus 1, it is a negative 3. Now you can see from the new expression that I've got, 2x squared, we have 2x squared in the original, minus x, we have minus x, plus 6x, we have a plus 6x, and minus 3, we have a minus 3. So you can see that when you expand, it takes you back to the original. This is a way of cross-checking that your answer is correct. When you keep doing that, you will be actually marking yourself all these answers. So how do you get your 4 marks? They will mark you the first bracket, they mark you the second bracket in this case. So the first bracket and the second bracket will give you your 2 marks. Remember, it is out of 4 marks, and then they will give you also 2 marks for this expression, the first part and the second part of that. So they will give you also 2 marks for that. I think these are kind of good marks that you can grab for yourself as you work towards this question paper. Now let us look at question number 3. And in question number 3, it is saying simplify. Again, it is out of 4 marks, which is good marks, and it's 3.2. Now if I can expand this, so what are you given? You are given 2 fractions, which is 2a minus 4 over a plus 2 divided by a minus 2 over 4a plus 8. And then a few key things that they're trying to test you here is, do you understand division of algebraic fractions? As I said, there are quite a number of lessons that I've made, including the Mathematics N1 for the Underdog, where I extensively cover such division questions, and I will always encourage you to grab hold of these lessons, because when it comes to answering these, it will be way more easy for you. Now, how do you go about answering this one? The first thing is, let us look at our first part, which is the first fraction there is 2a minus 4. Now in the first fraction is 2a minus 4 over a plus 2. So from this particular fraction, what if you look at the top, which is the numerator, you have to ask yourself, can I simplify this numerator further? And if it can be simplified, how can I simplify it? You can simplify it by factorizing. So you need to factorize, and if we factorize the top, if I can have more space here, so the numerator I'm having there is 2a minus 4, and if I'm factorizing that 2a and minus 4, you can see 2 and 4, 2 is common. Now 2 into 2a is a, and 2 into 4, it is negative 2. Remember, I told you I'm dividing by 2, both 2a and minus 4. So I get that part. I again identify on the second fraction, is there any part that can be further simplified? Yeah, the numerator is already simplified, but the denominator of the second fraction, which is 4a plus 8, can be further simplified. So if I get that one, 4a plus 8, if I simplify, what's common in 4 and 8? It is 4. Now 4 into 4 4a, the 4 will cancel to leave out the a, and 4 into 8, it is 2. So this is what it simplifies to, and then I can therefore write the new fraction as 2 into a minus 2 over a plus 2, and then divided by a minus 2 over 4 into a plus 2. So this is what I'm having. If I simplify this further, then I need to sort out this particular division sign. And if you work with fractions, you will know that you must change first the division into a multiplication sign before you do anything. So you'll have that, and then from division it changes into a multiplication. And what do you do if it changes into a multiplication? The denominator of this goes to the top and the numerator goes to the bottom. So in other ways, you interchange those such that you'll now have your 4a plus 2 over a minus 2. So that's what you're having there after interchanging. When you've done that, you are then able to cancel out whatsoever is common. So you look at this one, you've got a plus 2 being common with that, it goes, and then again you have got another one common, a minus 2 as a minus 2. You must see that I'm cancelling it as 1 because of the negative sign. You are not cancelling a and a, you are cancelling it as a whole, a minus 2 as one thing with a minus 2 as one thing. When you have done that, you have to write now what is remaining. And in the first one, you have got 2 that is remaining. So it will be 2 and then times, because that is a 1 and that is a 1, that's a 1 and that's a 1. So it's 2 times 4, and the answer symbol 2 times 4 is what? Is 8. So that's how you do it. I have a way sometimes that I prefer to prove such questions. And how do I prove them? I hope it will come out right, but this is how I do to try to prove if I did this correctly. I choose any number. For example, I'll say let a be equal to, let's say, 15. Just choose any number that you think, any number it can be. As I said, any number. After that, you take your calculator, and then where there is a, you are going to put 15. So you're going to say, in this case, if I can write it, it will be 2 bracket. Remember, where there is a, I put 15 minus 4 over 15 plus 2 divided by 15 minus 2 over 4 bracket 15 plus 8. I mean, it's 15 plus 8, but the bracket is there. And then I use that calculator. Then the answer that I must get, it must be the same answer that I got, which is 8. So let us test that. I've got 2 into 15 minus 4 over 15 plus 2 and divided by 15 minus 2 over 4 into 15 plus 8. If I do that, I get this. You see now the answer matches the answer that I got. Any number, as I said, will always give you an 8. When I see the answer coming out like that, then I'm even more confident that my final answer is correct. So this is a way that I usually prove. You don't have to write it down. You can quickly just choose any number in your mind, punch it quickly with your calculator, and you can quickly verify that you did not make an error while you're simplifying. Now let us move on to the next question. Now in this particular question, it is out of 5 marks, and the fact that you are seeing 16, it means this is the end of question number 3. In total, the whole of question number 3 was out of 16 marks. Now what is this question talking about? It says determine the lowest common multiple. Okay, so now we're dealing with the LCM questions, and the highest common factor, which is the HCF, of the following algebraic terms using prime numbers. Again and again, I will emphasize you definitely need to grab hold of my lessons where I teach you all these strategies. It also, even the textbook that I've written, the Mathematics N1 for the underdogs, it will help you to easily understand how you approach this. Now, how do we work towards this? the first thing that you need to do is to, they said, if I can go back a little bit, said using prime factors. Now let us use the prime factors, and the prime factors they are talking about are the prime factors for 9, for 6, and for 42. Those are the prime factors that they are talking about. Now, how do you find the prime factors of 9? For 9, the prime factors of 9, for example, let me just do this and divide my space like that, so that I will have each part on its own. So let us start with 9. So we've got 9 r4 x squared y3. So with 9, what are the prime factors of 9? It is 3 times 3 r4 x squared y cubed. So what is 3 times 3? Is 3 squared r4 x squared y cubed. So the prime factor of 9 is 3 times 3. Let us go to 6. The prime factors of 6, it is 2 times 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, which is r cubed, x cubed, and y squared. So here, if it's just 2 times 3, it means power is 1, power is 1. What about the other one? In this case, it is 42. Now, the prime factors of 42, it is 2. You can use a calculator so that you can see how this goes about. So what you're going to say, 42 divided by 2, you get your 21. And then you ask yourself, what are the prime factors of 21? You're going to say, from 2, you say 21 divided by 3. You can see it was 2, 3, and 7. So if you say 2 times 3 times 7, all 2 is a prime factor, 3 is a prime factor, 7 is a prime factor of 42, you get 42. So it's 2 times 3 times 7. Remember, a prime factor is a number that can only be divided by itself and 1. So this is r squared, and then x to the power of 5, y to the power of 7. So it's 2 to the power 1, 3 to the power 1, and 7 to the power of 1. When we have done that, we are then able, the question said we must find the lowest common multiple, the LCM. So with that, we're able to find the LCM, the lowest common multiple. Now, when you want to find the lowest common multiple, first you have expressed it as prime factors. So you start looking at the numbers, start with the smallest number, and the smallest number is 2 on this one, and the smallest number is 2. And the next part is to identify the powers, which one from the smallest number has the highest power. Both of them have got 2 to the power of 1, so you write it like that, 2 to the power of 1. You move to the next number. The next number is 3, so we've got a 3 there, a 3 there, and a 3. Again, identify the one which has the highest power, which is that particular 3, which is 3 squared. And then you go to the variables or the unknowns. You start with r. So you ask yourself, from r, we have got that r, you have got that r, you have got that r. Identify the one with the highest power. You can see it is that one, which is r to the power 4. Do the same thing with x. We have got that x and that x. You can see the highest power is there, x to the power of 5. You do the same thing with y and y. You can see that it is that one which has got the highest power, which is y to the power of 7. So when you start to find, I think I also left on the numbers there, I'm already saying it. So we said on the numbers there was a 2, there was a 3. You can see that I left out a 7 there. You mustn't leave out any number. All the numbers must be represented. In this case, you can see that there is still a 7 there. So I will multiply that, which is 7 to the power of 1, because it does not appear anywhere. So it is 7 to the power of 1. When you've done that, you take your calculator and then you multiply all the numbers, which is 2 times 3 squared times 7. It is 126. So the number is 126, which means the LCM of 9, of 6, of 42, it is 126, meaning the smallest number which 42, 6 and 9 can go into without leaving a remainder is 126. You can verify that with your calculator. You take it and then you say 126 divided by 42. Sorry about that. 126 divided by 42, it will give you a 3. 126 divided by 6, it will give you a 21. And then 126 divided by 9, it will give you a 14. So you see all numbers can go into that. And then after that, you write your variables, which is r4 to the power 4, x to the power 5, and y to the power of 7. Then this becomes your LCM. Okay, that one being done. Now let us look in this case at our highest common factor. So now when we are dealing with the highest common factor, the HCF, that's the highest common factor. When you are dealing with the highest common factor, it is the other way around, whereby you are still going to go back to all these prime factors, but at this time you are looking at the numbers that are repeating. So what am I saying? You are going to go back to all the numbers. The first number that you have to consider is 2, and you check, is 2 appearing in all these 3 sets of numbers? You can find that there is no 2 in the first part, and there is 2 in the second, and there is 2 in the third. But because it is not in the first part, it is not a common factor. Highest common factor means the number must be common in all the 3. And the next one is to identify 3. You can see that 3 does appear, 3 does appear, and 3 does appear. Now with the highest common factor, you do the opposite. You do not take the highest power, but you take the smallest power. And the smallest power in this case, it is 3 to the power of 1. That's the first part. And then you do the next thing. The next number is 7. You can see that 7 appears in the first one, but 7 does not appear in all the other 2 numbers, which means it is not a common factor for all the other 3. So in terms of the numbers, the only number that is common is 3, which means the highest common factor, or the number that can go into 6, 9 and 42 without leaving a remainder, it is a 3. And then after that, you have to identify the variables. On the variables, you also identify, you have got R on the first one, you have got R on the second one, and they've got R on the third one. Now with the highest common factor, you take the smallest powers, and you can see this is the one that has got the smallest powers, is R squared. So you're going to have R squared. You do the same with the X. You have got X squared, X cubed, and X5. So the smallest power is X squared. And the Y part, you have got Y cubed, the Y squared, and the Y7. The smallest power, it is the Y squared. So this actually becomes your highest common factor. So the HCF in this case, it is equal to 3 R squared, X squared, and Y squared. What am I saying? I'm saying the highest number as well as the unknowns or the variables that can go into the 3 sets of expressions that I'm given. That number that can go into without leaving a remainder, it is 3R squared, X squared, Y squared. Now we have come to the end of our lesson. I hope this was beneficial to you, and as I'm posting this, I will encourage you to press the like button if ever you benefited, or leave a comment if ever this was of help to you, or maybe you have got another strategy that you want to share with others. Alternatively, you can press the subscribe button so that you can be notified every time we post a new video. We have come to the end of our lesson. Thank you.